Welcome back. Well, our next guest is the New York Times best-selling author of 23 novels. She's a pretty big fan and advocate of sea turtles, too.
I love that about her. Her latest book is titled On Ocean Boulevard, and we are pleased to chat with Mary Alice Monroe, who's got some pretty deep Wisconsin roots. Good morning to you, Mary Alice.
Oh,
Good morning.
good morning. I'm just sorry I'm not there in person. I always love to see you, and I was supposed to be there.
I know.
Thank you for inviting me. To at least have this interaction is wonderful.
I agree. It's great to see you too, if only virtually. Talk about your Milwaukee roots, if you would. Remind us, because you were a teacher at MATC, right?
Yes, my family, first I'll call out to my brother who lives out there, Jim and Chris and the family, and Mimi and Bob. I have a lot of family in the Milwaukee area. And I was actually drawn there because my daddy was a physician at St. Mary's, which is now part of the medical complex. But back in the day, he was the head of the intern. So my father was there, my family, and I was a teacher at MATC for 4 years, and I loved it. And I always thought Milwaukee was that jewel. I just always loved the city. And we moved from there to Washington, D.C., and it broke my heart.
Aww.
Oh, it is a little jewel. It's a little gemstone. So I'm glad that you see that and miss it too. We're so excited to have you here. I can't believe that you've been writing for a long time, 23 novels. This is the, sixth in the Beach House series. Last time you were on our show, it was for a standalone book. But, a lot of people will wonder when you're writing in a series like this, do you have to have read each of the books to be able to understand this next one?
Thank you. That's such a great question. When, as an author, you can write a series. I wrote the Low Country series where I designed it that you really need all the story interacted so you followed one after the other. But that's not true for the Beach House series. I wrote the Beach House 20 years ago as a standalone novel. And subsequently, over the course of these last 18 years, this series, and I'm very blessed that it's such a beloved series that I keep moving it forward every couple of years, the character's age. So here it is. That's the cover. And I love it because actually that's the heroine. That's Linnea.
Yay.
And it's a standalone novel. If you've never read one of my books, it's a family saga. And it's a story of two women. One is a 23-year-old girl, Linnea, who's returning home. She lost her job. She was in California. She lost her job. She broke up with her boyfriend. So where do you go but mom and dad when you have nowhere else to go? So she's in her home, and there's that sort of tenseness about, you're my child, but I'm a woman, that back and forth. Then you have Kara, who's 56 years old, and she's getting married again. This is she never believed she could ever fall in love a second time, and she is. But the opening, her wedding is coming along, and she's a little embarrassed because she's got this veil and the plantation wedding in Charleston. And she's like, it might not be my style. I'm 56 years old. And her friends are, you deserve it. You go for it. So that novel's all going on when a devastating illness hits and everything goes topsy-turvy. And in addition to that, you have this family. You have her brother, who's a recovering alcoholic, and she has his back, but he slips. You have a woman, the Aunt Flo, who everyone adores, fiery 40 years ago, but now she's got Alzheimer's. And it's a family making tough decisions. So this is a story of this dynamic family who, when I wrote the book, honestly, Molly and Tiffany, I did not know a year ago coronavirus was going to hit. Mm-hmm. But here you have the girl coming home to live with you she lost her job. You have a devastating illness hit, weddings canceled, and it's providential that the story is what's going on right now.
Well, and Mary Alice, I love that what I read about the book about Kara has weathered the tides of death and birth, struggles and joys, just like so many people who you live long enough, yes, and there's going to be that ebb and flow of life.
Yes.
And I love something else that you include in this book, and that's sea turtles. And you have an extensive background in sea turtles. Yes. Talk about that a little bit, because you're on a sea turtle team. You're on a board that established a hospital for sea turtles.
Yes. Well, I moved to Isle of Palms 22 years ago, and the first thing I did was join the turtle team. We were just starting one up through DNR, Department of Natural Resources. And so for 20 years, we monitored the nesting saga. And I was so involved, all I wanted to do with my book was to answer questions for all the people who came from Wisconsin, from New Jersey, Ohio, wherever they came to vacation on our island. And I wanted them to become aware of what lights out for turtle means. They don't know that. Also, more importantly, for my novels, I gave a new structure to my books. I draw my themes and my settings and everything from what I learned about the sea turtles and the beach. So it's that reoccurring theme. The sea turtles come ashore, lay the nests, leave, the hatchlings come, leave, then the year goes by. That cycle of life. And that's mirrored in the characters and the story of this family. They weather it all, but it's love, commitment, determination, having your back. That's what families do.
I know. And Mary Alice, I know all of your Milwaukee fans, your family, which is big in this area, are so excited to see you here on our show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You have a fascinating background. You speak Japanese, you co-breed Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. You're an interesting person. And
people have a busy life.
You got so much going on.
Yeah, exactly.
But let me say, for everyone who's stuck at home, I heard the earlier interview, who can't get away, the one thing that this book on Ocean Boulevard delivers is a vacation, escape. You will come to my ocean, to my island in this book.
I love it. I would love to visit you sometime too. Thank you so much
for
your time.
Open invitation.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Kisses back to you. And you can get a signed copy at Boswell Books of Mary Alice's new book, which is on Ocean Boulevard. You can find out more about her and her incredible background and experiences if you visit her website, maryalicemonroe.com. So fun.